I used to be a very shy, introverted kid. I didn't have any special talent. I slogged for about 6-7 months. But with that effort, I was able to clear the Civil Services exam in the first attempt. So I decided to finally leave the IPS against advice from every single person I knew. To be successful, you need luck. Now, I don't deny that. I don't deny that luck plays a role. But here's the thing. Hi everyone, my name is Rajan Singh and I'm an IIT graduate, ex-IPS officer and MBA from Wharton, and currently I'm an entrepreneur. I run a startup called ConceptOwl, which I launched to bring high quality learning to students in small towns and rural areas. Now, sometimes a lot of my friends used to ask me, like, you have already been to IIT, been an IPS officer, MBA from Wharton. So after that, what else is remaining? Like, you've tried everything already. So why do you want to do something different? So this story starts in early 1980s in Assam. So my father was in the defense services and we would get posted to different places. And then we were in this very small town in Assam where the quality of schooling was really poor. I used to be a very shy, introverted kid. I didn't have any special talent and I wouldn't want to mix with other children. I would not go out and play. And my goal would be always to just hide somewhere so nobody would see me. Now, my parents obviously didn't like that. They wanted me to, go out and play and mix around. But all their efforts had absolutely no result. But when I was in 5th grade, in 5th class, I happened to top the class. Now that suddenly, gave me a passport to something, to be somebody special. Every one of us, we want to be special in some way. And for me, now I suddenly found that there was one thing that I was good at, which is studies, academics. And I latched onto it. Luckily, when I was going into class 9th, my father was transferred from Assam to Allahabad. And a couple of years later, one day, 2 students from IIT Kanpur, they were on vacation, they came to my school and they took a short session where they told us about engineering, about IITs, and that got me really excited. And I decided, okay, I wanted to go to IIT Kanpur. So what I did was I went and bought this book which had the last 10 years previous question papers for IIT JEE. And even though I was the topper of the class, when I started solving, I could not solve even one problem from the whole question paper. In fact, I could not even put my pen on paper. Right? And that is when I realized that the bar was very high. I was nowhere near that. So what do you do now? But then what I did was I bought those books. They used to be these very thick books for physics, chemistry, maths. And for next 1 year, I really slogged. Every single day I would study till late in the night, and then even when I would get very tired in the night, I would lie down in the bed and read the book. And I don't remember in that 1 year, I don't think I ever switched off the light and went to sleep deliberately. What would happen is I would be reading, and then at some point while reading, I would fall asleep with the lights on. But as a result of all that slog, I finally made it to my dream college, which was IIT Kanpur. Now, life in IIT was, it was college, it was fun, but those 4 years, they just flew by. It just went so quickly. And before I realized, it was time to now find a job. Now, I was not I did not want to do a regular corporate job. It somehow didn't excite me. And I was looking for something special, something challenging. And I found that in the form of civil services. Now, as you can imagine, civil services is a pretty tough exam. It's very competitive. The number of seats are very small, lakhs of people applying. But then I remembered the IIT JEE preparation. I remembered that, even if the time period is short, if you really slog, you can achieve your goals. And here also, with the same confidence and the same conviction and same hard work, I slogged for about 6-7 months. But with that effort, I was able to clear the Civil Services exam in the first attempt, and then I joined the Indian Police Service. Now, life in IPS, it was pretty interesting. It's very exciting. As you can imagine, the the kind of challenges you face, the situations are completely new. When I was still in my 20s, I was running Trivandrum City Police, and I had more than 3,500 policemen working under me in the city police. I was really enjoying it. But what happened was, as you start doing those things again and again, gradually it started feeling repetitive. And after a few years, I was not enjoying it anymore. It was like doing the same thing again and again. And I started wondering, I was barely 30 years old, and the retirement age in government service is 60 years, which means I had 30 more years left. And the question was, should I keep doing the same thing which I don't really enjoy as much for next 30 years? And remember, that was a time when I was comfortably settled. My daughter was 2-3 years old, and that is a time when everybody wants to just settle down. But I started thinking of leaving the IPS. And when I told this to friends, family, everybody else, people thought, either I was not serious or I was crazy. Everybody said, like, how can I leave this job? It's so hard to get in, and it's so reputed, and that is the way everybody used to think. But then I figured that in life you have to do things that you find meaningful, and all the prestige, all these the reputation, the status, the things that people talk about, these are all external things. What really matters is, does it connect with us? Does it make you feel that this is something that I want to come and do every single day? So I decided to finally leave the IPS against advice from every single person I knew. So the question was, now what do I do? And I had no idea, to be honest. But then after some deliberation, I decided to go for an MBA. Now it was pretty challenging because I was in my early 30s, and you can imagine most of my classmates from IIT, they would have done their MBA many years back, right? Because I had graduated from IIT almost a decade back. But still, despite those challenges, I decided to go for it, and I wanted to go to a top business school like Wharton. So then I started preparing. I wrote the GMAT. There is an application process. You have to write essays. It's a pretty involved process. It takes a lot of time. I went through that, and finally I made it to my dream school, which was to Wharton. Now at Wharton, you have people from all over the world. It's a very large class of students, so 800 students in the MBA program. And among those 800 people, I was the only person who was an ex-cop. Almost everybody else, they had worked in business, some had worked in finance, in different areas of business, and they had a good exposure, and they knew what they were going to learn. And for me, everything was absolutely new. In fact, some of them were, I could sense that, they would be wondering that what is this guy doing here? But again, I just went back to my previous approach, which is that, if you face a challenge, don't give up, just slog, work hard, push hard, and if you do that, anything is possible. And on the same lines, I started going through all the courses. I would study really hard, attend all classes, and for those 2 years, I pushed as hard as I could, and I was able to graduate in the top 5% of the MBA program, and I ended up getting a job at McKinsey, which was again it was a dream job for me. But after working with multiple businesses, after interacting with senior managers and CEOs for next few years, I realized one thing, that this is not how I wanted my life to end. मतलब जिंदगी की जो स्टोरी होती है, उसका एंडिंग ये नहीं हो सकता. This is the feeling that I had in my heart. Now, as I look back at my life experiences, there are a few things that I have learned. First one is that hard work is a very powerful and very potent weapon that all of us have. Now, I've seen a lot of people who say that luck is very important. To be successful, you need luck. Now, I don't deny that. I don't deny that luck plays a role. But here's the thing. If you are willing to slog and work hard, even when you fail, even when you fall down, if you're willing to get up and fight again, and you can do it day after day, at some point, luck will have to give in. How long will luck evade you? If you can slog without giving up, success will be yours. Whatever dreams and goals you have, you can make them a reality. Another thing I've learned is the importance of exposure and right guidance and right support. Now, my father was in Assam, and then he got transferred to Allahabad. Just because of that one small coincidence, because I was in a bigger town, I got to know about IITs. I got to know how to prepare for that, get the right books, and so on. But imagine if instead of Allahabad, my father had been transferred to some other very small town, then it's quite likely that I would have never made it to IIT. And all the things that followed after that, I would not have been able to do any of those things. Right? Which means that students who live in small towns or remote areas, they are not getting the opportunity. Many of them, they have the right talent. And this was one of the thoughts that was playing in my mind when I became an entrepreneur. And that is why I started ConceptOwl. And my goal was to bring that very high quality learning and support and guidance to children in small towns and rural areas. Another big lesson I've learned from my life experiences is that it is okay to explore, to keep exploring, to keep looking for things that you really want to do. When I left IPS, it was definitely risky. Right? But the thing that was playing on my mind was that when I am 60 or 70 years old, I don't want to look back and say, oh, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. I don't want to live a life of regret. Now, if you are in a job or if you are doing something which you don't enjoy, if you feel that it is not something which really makes sense for you, you don't find meaning in it, it's okay. It's okay to go and look for things. It's okay to try different things. And when you go and experiment, it is quite possible that sometimes you may have failures. Sometimes things may go wrong. In life, confusion, failure, ये सब चलता रहता है. This is just part of life. We cannot avoid it. But in that process, if we take no risk at all, then we are missing out on the opportunity to live a full life. But then you could ask a question, and a very fair question, which is that what if I fail? What if I have a big failure? Now here is a thought that I want to leave with you. Just imagine that a game of football is going on. There are two teams. Now one team has scored 2 goals, the other team has scored 3 goals. Now the first team, which has scored 2 goals, have they lost? The answer is it depends. If the match is still going on, then they have not lost. When does this team lose? This team will lose only when the referee blows the whistle when the 90 minutes are over. Until then, the game is on. Now think about the game of life. We are also fighting, we are also playing and fighting against circumstances, fighting against luck, fighting against all the other factors. But unlike in the game of football, when after 90 minutes the whistle blows, here the whistle is blown, the game ends only when we decide that the game is over. Even if you are down, even if your score is low, even if you are losing right now, you have not lost until you give up. Giving up is blowing the whistle. If you are willing to push yourself to get up and keep fighting and don't blow the whistle, doesn't matter what happens, at some point, you are going to win. And your dreams and your ambitions, you can make them real, as long as you keep fighting and don't give up. Thank you.
Tell us what you think about this video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.